Hey good people, how you doing? Hope you've been well. This is episode 5 of 254 Rugby. Well, we are reviewing the Ingo Sevens, the second round of the 2024 Sportpesa National Sevens Circuit, which took place this past weekend in Kakamega. Joining me, as always, is Walter Orangi. Walter, good to see you, man.
Yay. Good to see you too, man.
Yeah. I've been good. What about you?
I've been fantastic. Just got back from Kakamega. It's been a long couple of days. I'm just trying to get back to the normal activities of Nairobi.
Normal activities of Nairobi. What do they include? Do they include Mandamano?
So we start with Monday. It's a sleeping day. Tuesday ni maandamano. Wednesday is work day. Thursday ni maandamano. Then Friday ni sherehe.
Kabisa. And I'm sure you must have enjoyed the sherehe in Kakamega. Kakamega is always a special place. You know, it's my high school town. You know, that's where I spent a very memorable part of my teenage life, and those memories trump even any more memories I've ever experienced. Anyway, that's a story for another day. Let's quickly get down to it. Second leg of the Sportpesa National Sevens Circuit, a second different winner. It's interesting. Kabras won the first leg at Queens. Queens won the second leg at Kabras. Two different winners. Take us through the Queens win.
Well, yes, Mike, as you pointed it out, Kenya Harlequins went to the backyard of Kabras and did what they did. I mean, just exchanging roles. One was hosting, the other won, the other was hosting, the other won. So really, sort of an improvement from last weekend in terms of how Kenya Harlequins performed. I thought they really had a very, very strong team going into this one. And we did talk about it in terms of our pre-match analysis, looking at how Kenya Harlequins were going to get around it. But it wasn't easy, as we were pointing it out, because Kabras, having won Christie Sevens, of course, and playing host, we actually expected so much from them. They had a very good day one. They were very good in terms of how they dispatched opponents in their pool, except for that one loss to Masinde Muliro at home, and it was a massive loss to Kabras. And of course, I think that really showed the cracks within that specific Kabras team going into day two. That is the finals day. So really, Kenya Harlequins did so well, and as you've said, it's important that they got the win in the bag. They're top of the table. So yeah, going into Dallas Sevens, it's Kenya Harlequins to beat.
Of course, in every final there must be a winner and a loser. KCB at halftime looked like they were in the driver's seat. They raced into a 12-0 lead, and then they imploded. I put out a tweet saying that, you know, well played Queens, but KCB have only themselves to blame for that second half implosion. Again, you being on the ground, you being the voice that gave us the pictures worldwide over that weekend, what went wrong for KCB?
I think KCB were good in that first half, and from the onset, you could see that they intended to play a game that was always going to win them. I mean, if you had a judgment in that first half, you would say KCB should have won that final. But I mean, they kept on giving an opportunity to Kenya Harlequins. Going into the halftime break, they were leading by 12 points to nil. And I remember telling the followers and also the fans on the ground that a 12-point lead is not a safe ground for KCB. And that second half was a total implosion. You could see that they did not have the confidence to actually score the third try. And Kenya Harlequins, credit to Kenya Harlequins, who came out of the blocks in the second half, put KCB under pressure, played in the right areas. And if you remember that final, Kenya Harlequins kept on kicking away possession from their own half, chasing down with a good chase line, and of course apprehending KCB in their own half. And KCB have always struggled with this, and you could see it even from the Kenya Cup final games that they played versus Kabras. Many a times when KCB were kicked back, pressure was kicked back to them. They either wanted to play from deep or they couldn't respond by kicking back from the 15s and also the 7s. And that is a struggle, really. Well, I could attribute that to overconfidence. With that ability to think that we can play from our own half, we can do mistakes from our own half and get away with it. And this time around, I don't think Kenya Harlequins were giving them an opportunity to get away with it. So it's really, like you pointed it out, it was really KCB case of implosion. Games, they had themselves to blame at the end of it. But you have a winner and you have a loser to Kenya Harlequins.
Yeah, a winner and a loser, but also for KCB. Remember, I played for that team, so I'll be a bit harsh in my comments as well. A number of brain freezes, particularly in that second half. Several occasions for them to exit. They did not exit. They were pinned down by the hungrier Queens, who first of all tied the game. And you remember just before them tying the game, there was that massive knock-on by the Queens number 6. I don't know who he was, but the knock-on right in front of the post. And you feel that KCB should have exited from there, because at that point it was still 12-7, wasn't it? Final play literally was beckoning. But again, the decision making just letting them down. And I'm sure Dennis Mwanja and the rest, Andrew Amonde and the rest of the KCB technical bench will go into the break looking to correct their mistakes, and obviously looking at the input of the Kenya Sevens internationals when they return from Olympic duty. But having said that, I think for Queens, for Pau Murunga, remember he has stuck with this side. This is the second season now. They were flaky last season, but it's coming good for them. And kudos to what he's done. Although I must put it on a lighter note, it looked a bit odd. It still seems strange to see Pau sing the Queen's anthem, as Pogi Ndonga put it on his Twitter feed during the weekend.
Yes, you've actually pointed it out rightly. Pau has had an opportunity for him to build a team at least, and credit to Kenya Harlequins, especially looking at the two individuals who really were the drivers towards their victory this weekend. You had Amon Wamalo on one side. You also had Lucky. The halfback pairing of Amon Wamalo and Lucky the World was, the masterstroke for Paul Murunga, and it's still early days. Of course, it's 2 out of 4, but Kenya Harlequins are looking very strong. However, I need to point it out that one of the players who's been very consistent for them, Leon Yang, was seen later on after the game crippled with crutches. And hopefully that is not a serious injury. He's been a very consistent player for them. He's been that outlet down the wing, the strike rate when you needed him to actually respond, and he did. And then also pointing out in that final, rightfully, KCB had an opportunity to clear their lines when there was that big knock on there. The try line was beckoning for Queens. But credit to Kenya Harlequins. They pinned them down, as you've said, and they went away with the coveted 100,000 shillings, and of course the points on top of that league table. So it's important, and congratulations to Queens. Congratulations to Pau, who's consistently built that team. He's brought in new faces. There were a couple of boys making their debuts over the weekend, transferring from Kisumu, the likes of Alvin Kalori and David Williams. And it's important to note that that specific change to the personnel is what is really important for Kenya Harlequins as they look to build momentum towards the tail end of this season.
Now, still talking about Queens, earlier on, probably moments ago, you mentioned Amon Wamalo and Lucky Dewald. just how good were these guys for Queens throughout the weekend?
They were fantastic. They were really brilliant, Michael. I've had an opportunity to look at Lucky across the 15th season, and he has been that bright spark at Kenya Harlequins in terms of that halfback play. They had a good combination between him and Cornelius Mokoro, who is now plying his trade in Romania. It was really an opportunity for Lucky to be introduced to the world. Not much has been said about the young man, but this last 2 days was a complete testament of what a halfback should be able to do. All he did was the simple things, right? He passed right. He did attack the line when he needed to, and those very important line breaks that he offered his team over the weekend were very, very instrumental. Now, him and Amon were a pair up because Amon was very instrumental also, just to run through plays, finish, and when his team needed opportunities, taken Amon took those opportunities with both hands. So I feel like the driving force for this Kenya Harlequins is the duo. Not forgetting that they have decent forwards who set the platform for backs to play. But specifically, the two are very, very talented, and if they go the season injury free and they play the way they did in Kakamega, it's really going to be a tough one for anyone to unseat Kenya Harlequins from the top.
The hosts Kabras did well to go as far as they did. They're still in contention at this early stage. And then the slippery banana peel that we keep talking about, the Catholic monks. We talked about them being that pesky little brother, but there's another phrase. They're like that smell that refuses to go away at this particular point of the season. Do you think they can sustain
Yes.
it? I keep asking you this question. Do you think they can sustain it? Do you think we're in for a good ride with the monks in this particular campaign?
I would say so far so good for the Catholic monks. They've been very consistent, and it's important for us to note that they had a quality pre-season. They've literally matured into the season. Second attempt in terms of going for the Cup glory. Missed it last weekend at Christie's. Missed it yet again, but quality performance and play from them in terms of their sevens play. One thing to note about them, they do understand that they do not have the physical attributes to go up against the big boys, so they consistently play with the offloads, and same way Madagascar play their rugby. It's very refreshing because the ball is consistently in play. They keep on changing the point of attack. It's really hard for you as a defender to know who you're supposed to tackle. So in one play, they've offloaded maybe 2 or 3 times, and then that really creates opportunities elsewhere. So it's like we said, it's 2 out of 4 teams are consistently trying to understand how these teams are playing, and they can go all the way if they are kept injury free. But so far so good for Catholic monks. I have no words to describe how feisty they are. How Michael, if you look at how they play and how they're consistent with what they do, it's really refreshing to watch. You also spoke about Kabras. They played host. They have quite a young team coming through. They made a couple of changes this weekend from the team that played last week. And of course, they were at home. So it's something to note that they at least came to the show. They played in the Cup quarters, which was an opportunity for them. And they did win that one, went into the semi where they lost. So it's important for Kabras to they won something. They won the 3rd and 4th playoff match. It's important. They got the points. They can pile up the pressure up top in terms of the overall league standings. But overall, I'd give them 60% performance this weekend, not coming home with the overall trophy. but good performance. And third and fourth, not a bad position to finish.
Talking about not a bad position to finish, let's talk about the ZTE Oaks. We saw them oscillate last year in the Sevens Circuit between Division 1 and Division 2. They're doing it again. They are pretty strong for Division 2, and they won the title in Kakamega. How did they play? What can we expect from them heading into leg 3 in Kisumu when the Dallas Sevens comes back? I think it is on the 17th and 18th of August. So what can we say about the ZTE Oaks this past weekend in Kisumu, in Kakamega?
Well, ZTE Oaks have been a very consistent performer. Tough that they had to play the opening fixture of the Sportpesa National Sevens Circuit in the Division 2, having been relegated in the tail end of the season last season. But they've come in very strong and they've been very consistent in terms of their sevens. Remember, they've also been promoted to the Championship League, courtesy of winning the Nationwide League 15's version. So this weekend was a testament for the locals to actually look at Coach Ramsfield Matekwa's side, and true to their word, they came through. They played very well in that final. Blistering performances from Mike Wekesa, who's really come through in terms of his physical abilities to play and actually give Daystar something going forward in terms of forwards. They also have a quality player in terms of Anderson Oduor, formerly of Impala Rugby, who's now one of their halfbacks, and also Brian Ondego, who's their fly-half, and Temi Kamagera, who's also come through for Daystar, but formerly of Nondes. So it's important for,
Walter.
Yes.
You're saying Daystar.
Sorry.
instead of ZTE.
ZTE, yes, sorry. Yes, I missed that bit. But it's important to...
Daystar guys, Poleni, your time to shine will come. But now the glory is with ZTE. So let's give them their flowers. Walter, please give ZTE their flowers.
Yes, let's do that. It's a bit confusing for me because of the institutions that they are. They're very close in terms of how they perform. Their consistent teams, the two of them, Daystar and ZTE. But as you were saying, ZTE have really earned the right to play in Division 1 in Kisumu, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they go up against the big boys. And remember, Michael, Division 1 is a place where everyone wants to play, and for ZTE to actually come through day 2 of asking, that is match day 2 of the Sportpesa National Sevens Circuit, I thought they were really solid and should offer quite an interesting platform for teams moving forward in the Division 1 category. They are very good customers, and watch out for them. That's also another banana peel.
Now, talking about banana peels, let's go back to the match between the Catholic Monks and Menengai Oilers. Final play. The Monks are leading 24-19. The Oilers find themselves in possession. And then there is this brain freeze from the Oilers number 24, Samuel Maura, former Kenya under-20 international. Kicks the ball out of touch so nonchalantly, and they lose 24-19. The brain freeze moment of the week. Yes, social media has made fun of it, but I think it's one of those moments where, on a serious note, you need to be present at every moment of the game, every single second that you are on that field of play.
Yes, rightfully pointed out. Yes, Sami had that moment, and quite unfortunate for him. Michael, if you look at that kick, you cannot really explain how it happened, because Oilers were consistent in the attack. They went for a couple of faces, and then they got that opportunity from scrum time to attack Catholic Monks. But I had an opportunity actually at breakfast time to speak to Gibson Veru, and we had a conversation about that specific action. And Gibson was of that idea that a young man was coming through for the second time in terms of his play for Oilers. That result should have motivated his team for day two, so he wasn't really so hard on the young man, and he expects quite a lot moving forward from him because he's one of those senior players. Oilers has done a couple of changes in terms of their personnel, so it's important for Gibson Weru and company to consistently, come down on the senior players and also develop the younger players through the system. So it's important for them.
Okay, we're coming to the close of this particular review of the Ingo Sevens. How did you rate the Ingo Sevens in terms of quality, in terms of organization? That's question number one. And then number two, what have the opening two rounds of the 2024 Sportpesa National Sevens Circuit been like?
Well, Michael, being the very first time for Kabras to play host to a local circuit, I thought they did quite well in terms of the organization. There are very many things to pick up from that specific weekend for Kabras, if in case they do want to host this leg yet again next year. But overall, we had a good tournament. The Division 2 category was also well organized. The Division 2 category was being played across at the Masinda Muliro University. And of course, the home ground of Kabras, that is the ASK Showground, playing host to the Division 1 category. So it's important that Kabras learn from the gains that they made over this last weekend, build on that moving into this season, and of course, consistently make changes. And I'd give them a big thumbs up for that organization. It's not easy, Michael, having everything pieced together in haste and also not really knowing what to do because it's the first time. So I thought Edwin Esilaba and company, and of course the Kenya Rugby Union at large, did quite a commendable job getting ready for that event and also executing over the last 2 days in Kakamega.
Just to add something before you go on to the second point, a bit of random information. Edwin Esilaba is my neighbor in Bunyore. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, it seems to have good neighbors. If you, Michael, you have good neighbors. Those are very, very strong bonds. So anyway, yeah. So Kabras did quite well, and it's important for us to keep the heart of this tournament really beating, and build on the gains that we've made this year, and it's important. And I have to congratulate Kabras for that. Out of 100, I'd give them 80%. They still have maybe 20% to work on in terms of maybe logistics. The crowd control, maybe crowd seating area, and all that. Quite a lot of improvements to be made. But within due course, that is something that can be handled, of course, by Kabras, and I believe they will do that. The second question, Michael, if you can actually take me through the second question, which one was it?
It was just, we were recapping the Sportpesa National Sevens Circuit after the opening two rounds. Remember, we started with the Christie Sevens on the 27th of July. Then we had the Ingo Sevens in Kakamega this past weekend, the 3rd of August. How have the opening rounds been for you, and what can we look forward to heading into the final four legs?
The opening rounds have been fireworks, Michael. Remember, we were dusting our boots at Christie Sevens. Done and dusted, we went over to Kakamega, and of course, the teams were now getting to that sevens vibe, consistently trying to get one over the other. You'd already understand that who you're playing and how they play. So a lot of detail goes into match day two. It actually went into match day two, and you could see that the teams that were better last weekend started this week. The likes of Kabras and company, KCB, really improved this weekend. And being that they're defending champions of our local seven series, I thought them making the final was an opportunity for them at least to taste something in terms of silverware and hopefully build on that. Now, the 2 weekends I've seen our local boys play without the involvement of the national team players, and chances are that over Black Sevens will have the return of some of our local international heroes. That is the Shujat boys going back to their respective teams. So I'm looking forward to the third round, that is Dallas Sevens, that is coming up from the 17th to the 18th of August over in Kisumu. And hopefully we can continue with the fun that started over at Crystals.
Awesome. It's great to hear from you as always, Walter. Thank you for taking the time. This has been episode 5 of 254 Rugby. We have been reviewing the Sportpesa National Sevens Circuit, in particular the Ingo Sevens. We will be back with more rugby news. As always, you can share this content, subscribe to the link, and wherever you are, have a good day. Walter, as always, great catching up with you. Let's do this again next time.
Cheers, man. Thank you so much, Michael.
Sante sana.